January 30th. 1943 Berlin, Germany. A pale winter sun hangs over the Reichstag dome, filtered by low haze and the black smoke of factory stacks. The Luftwaffe sirens begin their lazy rise, the kind Berliners no longer fear. They have learned the rhythm of war bombers at night. Searchlights on clouds. Daylight is safe. But at treetop level, two shapes are already crossing the Tiergarten. Unarmoured. Unescorted. Smaller than any bomber should be. Each one built not from aluminum, but from spruce and balsa, its surface shining with lacquer. Inside the lead aircraft, Flight Lieutenant Ted Sismore keeps his eyes fixed on the chronometer. In the right seat, Navigator Flight Lieutenant Mick Martin reads his gearbox glow through goggles, counting the seconds to release at exactly 1101 a.m. Their Mosquito BMKVs pitch up. The bomb doors snap open. Two 500-pounders tumble through the cold air toward a brick building at Wilhelmstrasse. 50 the Reich Ministry of Propaganda. Down below, loudspeakers are carrying Hitler's 10th anniversary address. For a heartbeat, the speech crackles with pride. The next, it cuts to static as glass bursts outward and masonry folds inward. The wooden bomber has just sliced the heart of the capital. No armor. No escort. 2 men, 2 engines, and speed. As the pair skim the rooftops westward, flak gunners on the Zoo Flak Tower react late. Shells burst hundreds of feet behind. The mosquitoes vanish over the Havel lakes, hugging the white shimmer of ice, then climb into a gauze of cloud that no fighter can reach. Back in Berlin, command phones ring. The city's radar logs show only a brief trace. Luftwaffe control rooms insist, impossible. No aircraft can cross Germany in daylight and survive. Yet half an hour later, as a second pair of mosquitoes hits the radio station at Berlin Tempelhof, another of the Gestapo's offices in Alexanderplatz, 3 targets. 1 message: the Reich is porous. The mission code name is Operation Ramrod 47. It has lasted 13 minutes. And for the first time, German interceptors scramble not to chase lumbering bombers, but to catch ghosts. As Sismore and Martin cross the Dutch coast, a Bf 109G4 from JG, 26 dives from 18,000 feet. The German pilot squeezes the trigger, tracers slash through the cloud gap and vanish. The Mosquito is already gone. A blurred speck doing 400 miles per hour. Back at RAF Whiten, ground crews listen for the Merlin hum on the horizon. When it comes, the control van doors fly open. 2 wooden silhouettes settle onto the runway. Brakes hissing. The crews step out, faces wind-burned. And someone laughs wooden eye, and faster than any bloody metal one they've got. The myth of the fragile bomber has just been broken. But the debate inside Air Ministry is only beginning. Could this strange wooden aircraft replace metal squadrons entirely? Could speed and precision win where mass bombing fails? As engineers study the returning airframes and the German propaganda ministry smoulders, a secret meeting forms at Hatfield. The Havilland's designers, led by R.E. Bishop and C.T. Wilkins, propose a new idea, a Mosquito variant that won't just sting, it will strike at the Reich itself. Alone. Next section, the skeptics inside Bomber Command gather around a mock-up wing and laugh again, and the wooden folly must prove itself over enemy territory one more time. Can a plane of plywood survive where squadrons of steel have burned at Hatfield? Engineers unroll blueprints, still smelling of glue, around them. Senior officers in pressed uniforms watch in silence. They call it a miracle once. Now they want proof that a bomber made of wood can survive flak. Fighters. And the long road to Berlin again. Hatfield Aerodrome. England, February 1943. The fog hasn't lifted yet. Inside Hangar Tiger, the air smells of glue, varnish, and cold tea. The wooden fuselage of a Mosquito, stands on trestles under lamps that make the skin gleam like polished honey. Around it gather the skeptics, men in thick uniforms, faces drawn from sleepless briefings and casualty graphs. One of them, Air Vice Marshal Harris's deputy, runs a hand along the smooth fuselage and shakes his head. Lovely toy, he mutters. But you can't fight a war with furniture. The de Havilland chief engineer, R.E. Bishop, doesn't reply. He simply taps the side of the aircraft where the grain tightens around the wing root. Furniture, he says, Giedli, that flies faster than your fighters. Behind him, 2 Merlin engines wait on stands, gleaming cylinders of cast alloy. Their exhaust ports stained gunmetal blue. The technicians call them the lungs of the ghost. They'll push this airframe beyond 400 miles per hour once she's trimmed. But to the bureaucrats, she's still a curiosity, no armor. No guns. No turrets. Just speed and nerve. That speed is about to face its first real test. Bomber Command wants photographic proof from deep inside Germany Essen's industrial heart, where flak belts choke the sky. If the Mosquito can slip in, snap the targets, and escape, the skeptics will have to eat their words. At dawn on February 27th, the first pair of PR Make-4 Mosquitoes stand ready at RAF Benson. Their camouflage gleams wet with dew. Ground crews fit vertical cameras beneath the fuselage. The lenses point straight down. Waiting to photograph the Ruhr's smoke and steel, pilot Tony Wickham checks the Guisette, adjusts his oxygen line, and jokes to his navigator. If we see a 109, we'll wave. He won't keep up long enough to shoot. The control tower gives clearance. Twin Merlins roar awake deep. Musical. Throaty. The aircraft roll, lift, and merge with the overcast. For the next 3 hours, they'll ride the weather like ghosts. Below them, trains move along the Rhine. Anti-aircraft crews scan the clouds in vain. Over Essen, the flak bursts first dark puffs that look harmless until one blossoms too close. The Mosquito Dives snaps the pictures and levels out at treetop height. The blur of chimneys passes inches below. Inside, the navigator counts exposures allowed. The film drum whirs. Clockwork precise. Then they bank toward the coast. Throttles wide open. By the time German fighters scramble, the Mosquitoes are already across Holland. The ground stations track a blip moving at impossible speed, too fast for bombers, too high for fighters. The radar operator marks it with a question mark and a single word Holzflugzeug wooden airplane. Back at Benson, the developers hang the wet film under red light. Grain by grain, the Ruhr emerges blast furnaces, assembly halls, chimneys intact, no loss, no escort, no defensive guns fired, precision through velocity. That night, Air Marshal Harris himself walks the line of prints. He doesn't smile often, but now he does. All right, he says, give them a dozen more. The order is simple. The implication: vast Mosquito squadrons will expand from photo reconnaissance to bombing, pathfinding, and target marking. The aircraft that was once mocked as furniture is about to become the RAF's most versatile weapon. But the Luftwaffe isn't blind for long. At Abbeville, Major Haho Hermann studies radar plots and pilot reports. His staff begin designing interception tactics for a bomber too fast to chase and too high to catch. Their answer will be desperate, and it will come in the dark. In the next phase, the Mosquito meets its Hunter's night fighters born from the Reich's frustration, and a duel that will turn the sky itself into a test of nerves. Yet across the channel, in dim radar rooms and hangars reeking of oil, the Reich begins to answer. They will build Hunters built for darkness and send them to find the ghosts that mocked them by day. Verneuchen Airfield, northeast of Berlin, April 1943. The night smells of fuel and damp grass. Sodium lamps throw thin circles of light across rows of twin-engined fighters, their noses painted with black crosses. Mechanics tighten cowl panels while pilots, faces pale in the flare of cigarettes, huddle around a table marked Nachtjagdgruppe 1. Major Hajo Hermann leans over the map, tracing arcs across northern France with a pencil. Around him, radio chatter from the control tower merges with the low thrum of testing engines. The Luftwaffe has a new idea. If mosquitoes strike by day, the night will be turned into a trap. These British ghosts, he says, tapping the map. They appear where our radar goes blind, so we will make the night ours again. His plan wild sow. The wild boar tactic turns the darkness into an ally. Fighters will orbit over burning cities, using flares and searchlights to find silhouettes. Ground control is too slow. Instinct will replace instruments, and for the Mosquito, that means for the first time, there will be eyes waiting in the black. Hermann's men climb into their BF 110 seconds and Ju 88 C6 seconds. Aircraft heavy with radar sets whose screens glow faint green in the dark. The radar operators call out bearings measured in seconds, target 45 left. Range 5 kilometers. Their hands move like metronomes. Each blip could be a Lancaster, a Halifax, or the impossible, a Mosquito. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles west, 2 Mosquito night bombers of NOS 139 Squadron take off from Maham. Their mission mark the rail yards at Cologne for a larger bomber stream. The sky is velvet, stars sharp as nails. Pilot John Horsfall keeps one hand on the throttles, the other on the intercom switch. Stay low till the Rhine. Then up to 20,000. The navigator nods, watching the dim line of the river slide below them. At first the night seems empty. Then a voice crackles in German across the ether find über Düsseldorf. Enemy over Düsseldorf. Searchlights bloom ahead, weaving white cones into a cage. Flak begins to rise. Dull orange bursts tearing at the clouds. The Mosquito climbs, the altimeter spinning. Below, Hermann's hunters converge. Ahu 88's radar operator calls contact, and the pilot banks hard into pursuit. For a moment, the Mosquito's exhausts gleam in the dark, a pair of stars fleeing east. The Ju 88 dives after them, cannon ready, but the range closes too slowly. The British plane simply pulls away, its Merlins howling. Instruments in the red, in the Mosquito's cockpit. Horsefall glimpses tracer streaks slicing past the canopy. We've got company, he shouts. The navigator flips the flare switch. A magnesium bloom erupts behind them, blinding the pursuer. The Ju 88 veers, momentarily blind, then loses the echo entirely. By the time his radar clears, the scope is empty. At Cologne, the Mosquito levels, drops 2 target indicators that blossom into red fire on the yards, and turns home. In the bomber stream following minutes later, hundreds of heavy aircraft steer toward those twin fires. Above, the night fighters chase phantoms' reflections. Chuff, and the occasional Mosquito that never waits to fight. By dawn, Hermann's crews land one by one. Engines cough. Fuel fumes hang heavy. Of the 20 sorties, none can claim a Mosquito kill. Reports list visual contact lost due to excessive enemy speed. The frustration hardens. They call the aircraft Der Holzgeist, the wooden ghost. Still, for every failure, the Luftwaffe adapts. Radar sets improve. New models like Liechtenstein SN2 extend their reach. Pilots begin to claim occasional successes. Each duel becomes faster, closer, deadlier. And at Hatfield, de Havilland engineers listen to reports of Mosquitoes caught at last. Their answer is already on the drawing board, the NFMKXV, with AI make V8 radar and a Black Knight finish. The hunter will now hunt the hunters. By the time the Reich adapts, the ghost has learned to see in the dark radar eyes glowing behind its wooden skin. ready to hunt the hunters who once searched for it. RAF Cologne. England, October 1943. Rain needles against the hangar roof, drumming a rhythm that only the ground crews notice. Beneath it, the newest Mosquito sits black as coal dust, its wooden skin polished to absorb every glint of light. A mechanic wipes condensation from the domed nose cone where a secret now hides the new AI Make 8 radar. Its dish rotating in silence, ready to see what the human eye cannot. Flight Lieutenant Peter Rawlinson steps up the ladder, helmet under his arm, flight suit soaked to the knees. His navigator, Flight Officer Graham Grimshaw, waits with a clipboard, the glow of a map lamp making his face look carved from wax. They've flown day raids before. Tonight will be different. Tonight, they hunt the hunters. Range 20 miles. Beam width 5 degrees. Schaff says, tapping the instrument, you'll see him before he even knows we're here. Rawlinson smiles. Good. Let's see how the ghost looks when it bites back. At 2210, the Mosquito NF-MK-15 rolls out onto the wet runway. Twin Merlins shrieking into the dark. The tower clears them with a single green light. Wheels up, gear clunking home. They climb through layers of mist until the stars open above like holes in a blackout curtain. The radio crackles control to Ghost 1, possible bandit. Heading east from Rotterdam, Angels 15, over the channel. The darkness glows faintly with tracer and flak. Somewhere ahead, a Ju-88C prowls one of Herman's night hunters returning from a failed intercept. On Shaw's scope, a faint blip creeps across the glass. He adjusts gain. The echo brightens. Contact. Den Milos. Same altitude. Rawlinson throttles back to avoid radar return. Closing the distance silently, the Mosquito's black finish swallows the moonlight. Inside the Ju-88, the German crew doesn't know they're being stalked. Their own Liechtenstein set shows nothing, just static from ground jamming. The pilot checks his watch, muttering about fuel. The gunner scans the sky, eyes watering from exhaust fumes. 2 miles behind. Shaw counts down softly, range 2,000, 1,000, steady. Rawlinson squeezes the trigger. 4, 20 mm. Hispano cannons flesh. Once. Twice. No tracer. Just the thump of recoil. The Ju-88's starboard engine bursts into fire, spiraling down through the cloud base. Shaw watches the blip vanish from his screen. Scratch one hunter. A says quietly. They circle once, marking the coordinates for rescue crews, then head west. Rain greets them again over England. The storm reflecting lightning along the canopy. By dawn, reports confirm multiple kills from the new radar Mosquitoes. The Air Ministry files call it the turning of the tide in the night war. In Berlin, Herman studies loss reports with a stiff jaw. Each page is another echo gone silent. The Reich's radar is improving, but it cannot outturn speed. And it cannot see ghosts. His engineers draft plans for jet interceptors, the Me-262, but production crawls under bombing. By 1944, Mosquito night fighters escort heavy bomber streams deep into Germany, clearing the air ahead like unseen shepherds. They strike radar stations, flak trains, even the interceptors warming on runways. Crews give them a name, whispered half in respect. Half in Superstition die schwarzen Engel, the Black Angels. For the first time, the hunters of the night are being hunted in turn. As spring returns, Rawlinson's squadron flies nightly. Their sorties logged in chalk lines on the hangar wall, each line a duel in darkness. Each victory a little quieter than the last. The crews no longer cheer. They know every German loss means a man just like them won't be coming home either. Still, the work continues. Without the Mosquito's invisible screen, the bomber streams to Berlin would bleed too heavily. Every night, they take off into weather and flak, trusting the radar's heartbeat and the faint phosphor glow. But as the Mosquito's legend spreads, a new question shadows. Its triumph can pure speed and silence win a war built on firestorms and attrition? The answer will come over the Rhine. When wood and steel meet for the last time, March 1945, the Rhine, near Wesel. Dawn seeps through the smoke like weak tea. Below, the river twists under bridges shattered by months of bombing. The ground trembles as British artillery opens up for the crossing Operation Varsity, the last great airborne push of the war. Above that thunder, a smaller, higher sound cuts through the twin roar of Merlins. A formation of Mosquitoes from No. 627 Squadron streaks in low over the water, their bellies silver against the haze. Each carries marker flares and a pair of 500-pounders. Their task is to strike flak positions ahead of the paratroops, clear the guns before the men descend. In the lead cockpit, squadron leader Peter Rawlinson grips the stick, gloved fingers slick with sweat despite the cold. His navigator, Graham Shaw, scans the map, tracing the river bend with a pencil. Crossing point in 3 minutes, he says over the intercom. The static hums. The aircraft trembles. Below, German guns hidden among trees wait for shapes in the mist. They are not the mighty Luftwaffe of 1940. Most of their night fighters lie wrecked on fields. Fuel, gone. Pilots lost. What remains are boys and old men behind flak guns, watching the sky they no longer own. At 0755, the Mosquitoes dive through the clouds, cannon blazing. Their rockets streak into the tree line, tearing open nests of guns. The shockwave slaps the river flat. Seconds later, hundreds of C-47 seconds appear behind them, towing gliders heavy with troops and jeeps. Parachutes bloom white against the smoke. Shaw marks a battery still firing on the western bank. Lift 200 Rawlinson, Banks Ha, releases both bombs and pulls up into the sun. The explosion rolls beneath them like the exhale of a furnace. Far below, paratroopers of the 6th Airborne shout and wave as the Mosquitoes pass overhead wooden angels with wings of fire. By noon, the bridgeheads are secure. The Rhine, once the shield of Germany, has been crossed. Reports filter back to RAF HQ, flak suppression perfect. Minimal losses. The Mosquito has done what it was built to do: move fast. Strike precisely. Vanish. In the afternoon, a message arrives from London. Cease night operations effective immediately. All Mosquito units to transition to reconnaissance and pathfinding support. The war is nearly over. That evening, Rawlinson walks alone across the airfield, boots crunching frost. A line of Mosquitoes stands dark against the sunset, their engines ticking as they cool. Mechanics smoke in silence. Someone plays a gramophone inside a hangar. The tune carries faintly over the wind. He looks at the planes, each one carved from wood and glue, lighter than belief, and thinks of the thousands who never saw them coming, and the crews who never came back. The Mosquito was built to outfly fear itself, but even speed cannot outrun memory. In Berlin, Triwechslotter, Hajo Hermann watches fires rise beyond the Tiergarten. He writes in his diary, "We were hunters once, now we are shadows." The Mosquito's last missions are unarmed, flying over ruined cities to photograph what remains. The cameras click quietly through shattered clouds. Streets where searchlights once stood are now rivers of brick and ash. When peace is signed, the surviving Mosquitoes are gathered at storage fields. Some will serve as survey planes, others as test beds. Most will simply rot where they stand, their wooden wings warping under rain. But their legend endures, a machine born from defiance, powered by imagination, and shaped by craftsmen who believed that lightness could be stronger than armor. Historians will later call it the plane that did everything. Crews called it something simpler, the friendliest killer in the sky. And as the last of them lift off for home over the Rhine, the war they helped end fades behind them. leaving only the sound of the Merlin's low, steady, and endlessly echoing through time